Good morning, everybody. This is Dave Daughtry calling in for our Saturday morning webinar. And just want to check in here and see who all we have on. And I see you, Booty. Thanks for joining us this morning. Booty's out in Malaysia, everyone. And I see Michael there. Saludos, Irma. Thank you for joining. And Tony, thanks. I'm sure we're going to have a lot more on here. Now, just so you all know, today, I'm actually winging this one by myself. Usually I have Corey or Mason or somebody kind of helping me out. So this one I'm doing all alone. So anyhow, I just want to make sure y'all can hear me. So if somebody can just type in the text there that, yeah, you can hear me. So I just know that I'm not talking only to myself. Anybody? Come on, you guys. There we go. Thanks, Michael. I appreciate that. Great. Okay. So Jenny, thanks for joining us from Oklahoma. Appreciate it. Loranda, thank you for joining in. And so what I'd like to do today is do a bit more talking to you guys than showing visuals. And I just want to start by telling you a little story, and then I'll elaborate on it a little bit. And I've used this, gosh, since the early 80s, this story. So many of you might have already heard it, but there's a whole point to this. There's this old man that became a billionaire with a B, and he did it in Texas with oil wells. He became a billionaire in the oil business. And so when he became a billionaire, he decided to throw a party in his mansion. So he invited all of his families, friends, neighbors, coworkers, business associates, just everyone he knew, invited them all over to this party. So they all go to this big mansion, big, beautiful place. And they're inside his mansion and they're mingling and talking and having drinks. And all of a sudden the old man stands up and he says, "Hey, everybody, listen up here. It's a beautiful night. Let's all go out in the backyard. It's a beautiful garden. The moon is full. The stars are out. So let's all move outside." So everybody walks out in the backyard into the beautiful garden, and they're all standing around mingling, beautiful evening. And all of a sudden, the old man says, "Hey, everybody, come on over here." And they all walk over to this big swimming pool, beautiful swimming pool. And the lights are lit on the pool. And the closer the people get, they realize all of a sudden that there's a whole bunch of alligators in the pool. So here's this pool full of alligators. And the old man says, "Come on closer, you guys." He says, "The first person that could swim across that there pool full of them there alligators, I'll give you one of three things. If you can make it across alive, I'll give you $1 million in cash, or I'll give you one of my oil wells, and you'll certainly get rich off that. Or, yeah, my daughter's hand in marriage, and you can have it all." And all of a sudden, you hear this splash. This guy's in the water, and he's swimming like crazy. And all of a sudden, these alligators are just taking off to go after him and tear off his arms and legs. The guy gets to the other side, pushes himself out. He's huffing and puffing. He's all beet red. And the old man looks at him and says, "I don't believe it. You did it. What'll it be? Do you want $1 million of cash?" And the man says, "No." "Ah, you must want one of my oil wells." And the man says, "No." It says, "Oh, you want my daughter's hand in marriage so you can have it all." And the man says, "No. I just want to know who the fool is that pushed me in the pool." So here's my point. We're all here today, and I appreciate you all joining me on this Saturday morning when you could be out doing other things, but we're in the pool, all right? We're all here because someone pushed us into the pool. And now that we're in the pool, one of two things are going to happen. You're either going to swim and make it to the other side, or you're not, all right? Now, if you look out there, how many people know how to swim? Well, most do, but not everybody. That's the same in this business. Everybody has some sort of social skills. where they can talk to people. We live in a society that we communicate, all right? Even more so now with social media. But not everybody has the ability to approach someone or talk to somebody, especially cold, and warm up to them and establish that immediate friendship or that bond. Sometimes it takes people longer than others. We're all different. We're all unique. All right. So we're all in this pool together. All right. We're in for life. We're network marketing. All right. The crocodiles, they represent the naysayers, the people out there that are trying to tear you apart and tell you can't do it. And sadly enough, the people that do that are generally the ones that that we know. They're the ones that are supposed to love us the most and encourage us the most. What do? Many times they discourage us, okay? People resist change, okay? And this business creates change. So all of a sudden you get into the business and you start becoming successful. You start changing because your skills get better. Your social skills, your presenting skills, your leadership skills, management skills, people, all kinds of skills. And people see this change in you, and all of a sudden it's like, well, wait a second. We want the old person back. Well, here's the difference. You're moving forward towards your dreams and towards your goals. And that's why we associate ourselves with people that are in places where we want to go or we want to be. All right. Now, that doesn't mean we don't love and don't care about all the others, our family, and even those that have been naysayers or the crocodiles, so to speak. But if we pay too much attention to them, like the man in the pool, what if he'd have stopped for a second just to look around and see where the crocodiles were? He'd have been eaten alive. All right. So the point is, you don't have to listen to those people. All right. You have to stay focused. You have to stay determined. And it's a process. And this process is different for everybody. One of the things I love about network marketing is the fact that there is this element of mystery. You never know who you're talking to. And I can give you numerous examples, but an example for me would be someone like Barry Blake, from New Zealand. He might be on the call with us here today. I'm not sure. He's been heavily involved in helping to create Ditto Talk, which I'm extremely grateful for. And so Barry, we had never met before. He's in New Zealand. I'm in America. I was introduced to him, and I immediately started a relationship. And so what I'd like to do today is go through, we'll get into Ditto Talk a little bit, but I want to go through the 4 major steps of building your business, and we'll focus a little bit on the part of prospecting and presenting and talk about, how I go about doing that and so forth, because Ditto Talk is a tool. It's not the only tool. There's a lot of tools, and it's not the only presenting tool. All right. It's meant to help you get started, and it's meant to be a base and to help, especially that new person, immediately reach out and start building their business. Okay. So the first thing that everyone needs to do when they start their for-life business, or any business for that matter, is you need to prepare yourself, prepare your mind. All right. Get prepared, because we're in a marketing business, you guys. We get paid to do one thing, and one thing only, really. And that is to talk, to share with people. All right. That's why we don't have all this overhead. You don't have a bunch of employees. You can have 1 million distributors in your downline and not one employee. Isn't that wonderful? Have an organization, a business like that. You have a business doing millions and millions of dollars and no employees. So these are bullets and things that you can share with people. Who wouldn't want to have a business, that produces even $1 million a year, let's say, and you don't have any employees? People try to figure that out. So the whole point is, these are things that you can talk about. All right. But you have to prepare your mind to do that. So in our business of network marketing, I like to talk about, I use bullets. I like to talk in bullets. So when I'm sharing something with someone, they're generally just points, and they're not, I try not to elaborate too much, because, we need to listen. In many cases, listen more than we talk, because that's the real way of identifying the individual you're talking to, because everyone's different. So what do I mean by preparation? Well, with Ditto Talk, it simply means you go into practice mode, and I'll show you how to do that in just a minute, and go through the script, 10 times if you need to, Um, I'm a musician. I love music, and one of my favorite songwriters is Jackson Brown. Many of you may probably not have heard of him, but he'd sit down and he'd write a verse and he would play it 20 times, go through it 20 times, that one verse, get it down, say, okay, I got that one. Then he'd start a second verse. He'd play it 20 times, go over it and over it and over it. Then his tea kettle would go off and he'd go make a cup of tea, go back, sit down, 20 more times. That's the same way here. We get paid to do the same thing over and over and over. And sometimes it can get a bit mundane. I can tell you that I've done presentations where I physically was in the room, but mentally I was not in the room. My mind was off somewhere else because I was on autopilot. Now, I'm sure that's happened to you before. You've driven your car. All of a sudden you get to your destination and you're like, how in the world did I get here? I don't even remember driving right now because you were daydreaming or something. Your mind was somewhere else. Okay. So that's how this business is. All right. Things need to be natural. They need to come from you natural, and you don't want to come across like a salesperson. And that's one of the things I hear a lot in this business is I'm not a salesperson. You don't want to be a salesperson. You are building a family of people. All right. Yes. Do we sell? Of course we sell. I mean, if you go on Facebook and you just said, last night I went and saw this movie, whatever it might be. Like I know that later today, I'm going to go see that new Brad Pitt movie. I forget the name of it now, that spy movie. But, let's say I put on Facebook, just went and saw a movie today. It was awesome. I'm marketing. I'm telling everyone how great the movie was. We do it every single day through social media. The point is that it's natural. All of a sudden you sign up in For Life and you feel like you have to be a salesperson. That's the last thing you want to do. You come across like a salesperson. Nobody likes to be sold on something, but people like information. People like to give opinions, and people like to try things. People like to join things as well. People like to be part of something. Nobody likes to be alone. Those are the things that we want to focus on in building our business. It's like building a family of friends. Okay. And granted, as your business grows and you start working with people, there's all kinds, it's cyclical, it's up and down. So you go through all kinds of things, just like you do with friends and family. It's no different. So that's one of the things I love about the business. This is a deep business, you guys. What I mean by deep is that when you meet someone, and I can give you an example. One of my son's best friends that hangs around with him, Cameron, his dad's Tony, who's on the call here today. I never knew Tony. I met him through Cameron. And now we've become good friends. He even bought my book, my friend Dave, and made some comments on it. And we've got this relationship going now as he's getting his For Life business going, learning network marketing, never been in network marketing. He's on all the calls. He's joining in. He's being engaged and involved. That's how it all begins. But it's a natural process. Tony, I mean, if you think about it, my son Brandon has been his son's friend for many, many years. So sometimes the process doesn't happen immediately. But here's the thing, you guys. You start putting people in the pipeline, you start thinking about people and creating your prospect list, and that is really a never-ending process. You're constantly adding new people to your prospect list, and that will really be helpful when Enzyme's available. And to update you on that, Drupal still has that, and we're waiting for the infrastructure on that to come back. And once it does, I can give you better update as far as the time frame goes. But you want to constantly be building up your database of people. And I've noticed on Facebook, some people are really good at that naturally. There's people that already have 5,000 friends. So in my mind, I think if you've got 5,000 people in your Facebook, for crying out loud, you should be able to reach out to these people and share with them what you're doing. And that's where lead pages are going to come in, by the way, you guys. That's going to help because you'll be able to put that out through Facebook and through all the social media outlets and on the internet and so forth. And that will help attract some people to want to know what this is all about, okay? And so in preparation, that's what we're talking about here, preparing, all right? It's all about knowledge. Knowledge will create confidence. Confidence is what creates the action. People don't take action unless they feel comfortable and confident, and that's what Ditto Talk's there to help you do. It's to help people get started so that confidence level goes up to where all of a sudden, hey, I can talk to anyone, and pretty soon you're not even really reading the script. You're just going right on through it, telling them about it in your own natural way. And that's what you really want to do with Ditto Talk. You don't want it to come across like you're reading, all right? So in preparing, for those of you that have heard this before, you've probably already done it, but we can always go back and redo it. Everybody should have memorized 8 to 10 bullet points about the company for life, and even about network marketing in general. If somebody were to say, why do I love network marketing? Oh gosh, I've got a million reasons why I love it. I love being self-employed, number one, because I don't like taking orders from anybody. I like doing what I want, when I want, how I want, with whom I want, where I want. That's just me. I'm very independent. All right. Maybe someone else is different. That's one of the reasons why I love it. I love having unlimited income. I love being able to write my own check. I love working with people. There's just so many things I love about it. And I'd have to say the greatest satisfaction I get out of it is really watching transformations, going back in time and looking at people that I've known over the past 18 years and seen how different they are today. And just to name a few, Juan Rosado, for those of you that know him, was a broken man when I met him. He had hair back then, right? Totally different man today, extremely successful. Many people around the world following him, creating a great, just a great mentor, great leader. And Ezra Cabrera in the Dominican Republic, and Jeff Aldgilbers, gosh, Jeff, I've listened to him lately, even at convention. This last convention blew my mind, just how these people have transformed and changed. All right. That goes back to what you're talking about. The alligators, the crocodiles, some of those naysayers out there, they don't want you to change. All right. But it's okay. Embrace it. Change is good. So in your preparation efforts, know 8 to 10 bullets about network marketing. And if you don't know them, find them. They're there. I just gave you a couple about network marketing that I like, and learn. You can go on the internet. You can buy, if you want to buy a book, one of my favorite books, and I've got one coming out in 2017 called What I Know About Network Marketing. But there's a great one out there that you can all get by Mark Yarnell. And God rest his soul. He passed away recently. But Mark Yarnell was a great networker, has a book called Your First Year in Network Marketing. Again, Your First Year in Network Marketing by Mark Yarnell. Great book for somebody that wants to learn about what to expect the first year. But get those bullet points down. And about the company. Even though you've got Ditto Talk, you need to memorize some of these bullet points. You're not always going to have Ditto Talk on the fly. You might be just standing in line at the bank or something, talking to someone in casual conversation, and all of a sudden you're going to do a little bit of networking here. And that's how you want to think. It's your business. This is what you do. It's your livelihood, okay? It's for you and your family. So make it a habit, make it a lifestyle. And you'll find that once it is, it's really easy, And this time I will say easy, because I try to distinguish the difference between simple and easy. It is easy to stand next to someone in line, and if a conversation strikes up, I'm not saying starting the conversation is easy, but let's say that they make a comment. All right, you have a choice: keep your mouth shut, or turn around and make a comment back out of fun, whatever it was they said. It might have been a smirky remark, I hate lines at banks, or whatever it may be, but you respond. That's the difference between someone that has ingrained networking in themselves, and they're a natural networker. It's their lifestyle, it's their business, and they do it day in, day out. Okay. That's the change I'm talking about. That, an average person would probably stand there and never even reply to an individual's comment. A networker would turn around and make a comment back, or just say something to kind of maybe agree with what they're saying, or concur, if you will. And all of a sudden you've got some communication going. It's like the leadership dancing guy that we talked about, or all of you saw last week on the video. All right. You got to start somewhere with one, and it turns into two, and into three. But with that one person, you'll find that in your networking efforts, remember, you're not trying to sell. All right. You're just making a friend. That's all you're doing. If you think that way and keep it that way, bringing people into your inner circle and into this business gets to be very natural. And as you become more successful, your image changes as well. Your persona changes, because all of a sudden you become, more confident in what you're doing. And people see that. They look at you and say there's something about you that's different, all right? And especially if you're going through physical transformation. For those of you that have gotten on board, on the transform wagon, and you're out there training and you're exercising and working out, and people are seeing that, all of a sudden they realize you're serious. And that itself makes a change too, because people, once they realize you're really serious, many people can get caught up in what's called fear of loss. And I would use that to play on people. In the early days when I was first getting going with my business, I had no problem telling someone, look, I'm doing this with or without you. So if you want to join, come on board and let's do it together and have fun. Let's build a business and do it with other people and be successful and help other people be successful. What's wrong with that? And that's the way I would approach people. All right. So again, in your effort to prepare, it's always about being prepared. It's not just taking the time and getting a bunch of knowledge. And I'll use my son as an analogy on this one, or example. He's extremely intelligent in that he reads almost a book a day. It was a book a day over the summer, but with school now it's a little less. But he's got this library, and some of these books, Napoleon Hill, there's one he's reading now. He already read Think and Grow Rich. He's reading another one of Napoleon Hill's books. Skill set. Are you able to go out there, and are you able to communicate, and are you able to build? Are you able to create something? All right. And so now I want them to focus on these skills, and that's what you all need to do. So take the time to prepare, but now let's take that preparation and let's apply it. And that happens in your prospecting. That's number 2. Number 1 was preparation, the bullet points. And just to review number 1 real quick so we're all on the same page. These bullet points can be about any topic, but the 3 main topics are your company, for life research. What do you know about them? What could you tell someone right off the fly in talking to someone about your company? All right. I have no problem telling someone that, hey, I'm involved with my company. I say my company. I consider For Life as my company. All right. We all know that David and Bianca Lisenby are the founders, but I'll guarantee you Steve too has no problem saying my company. All right. And he's the CEO, but an employee of the company. You guys, this is our company. So I have no problem telling someone my company has offices in 25 countries. My company, does business in over 150 countries. All right. That's the company you're with. So when you tell people that, it's very impressive. So these are the bullet points you need to know. Company, product. You've got to know bullet points about your products. Even if you take 1 or 2 products and print out the profile data sheets on those. Where you get the data sheet? Very simple. forlife.com, go to the products, pick a product. Right below the bottle is a PDF. And just, in fact, you all know that. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And just for those of you that may not know, I'm going to go ahead and share this with you. I apologize for a million of those images popping up there. But on forlife.com, let me go back here real quick and make sure you can all see my screen. Can you all see my screen? Somebody say something out there. Hey, Latunga, good to have you on with us here. Warren, thanks for joining in. I'm looking at my text message here real quick. I'm assuming y'all can see my screen. If somebody can just put a yes. All right. Thank you, Warren. I appreciate that. All right. So let's go back here. All right. So all you want to do is you can go to the product section. And by the way, just so you all know, you can go to forlife.com. Every single one of you has your own page. So if you go to forlife.com, if you look at that, see at the top right there, my mouse is moving around. It says Plexer Marketing. You all have your own For Life web page. You can create your own domain if you want. Let's say you want to call it, buildingthebestbusiness.com. All right. And you direct that to your forlife.com/ID number. This is what pops up. This is your page, your business. So you all have your own personalized For Life page. Again, just go to 4life.com, put your ID number in, and there's your page. And you can even take it a step further and put another slash and go about. And that way, when people go, that's what they'll see. If you put that in, whether you direct it, of course, you'd have to point it, or if it's on a business card or whatever, but you're better off having your own domain and doing it that way. And of course, those of you that are all part of the DNA, we'll create something here where everybody just through one simple domain will be able to direct people to view, the various, whether it's, the lead page, Ditto Talk, whatever it is, everything will be accessed through the DNA portal is what I'm trying to say. So anyhow, so they would see that, go to shop. This is what you want to do to get your information, by the way, your PDFs. Pick a product. Let's say you're going to take Right Start here. All right. Pick a product. And right below, you should be able to, you'll see there's some information on it. And here it is, right? There's a product profile. See that? So you can click that product profile, download it, and open it. And there it is. Boom. You guys pick 2 or 3 products, download the profiles, save them in your computer, print them out, laminate them if you want to, put them in a little binder or something. Get familiar with your product. Pick a couple of them, the ones that you like the most. I like to start with the higher impact products, the Pro TF. Right Start, by the way, is one that would be very good to know about, just because of the full comprehensive regiment, where somebody can they get everything. You don't have to go to GNC, you don't have to go buy products anywhere else, unless it's something specific that you have to have, but pretty much everything is right there in Right Start. So again, in preparation, get your PDFs, get that knowledge, and it's a process. Don't try to do it all overnight. All right. The learning, I'm still learning after 34, 35 years in this business. So it's a process, but you have to start somewhere and pick a couple of products. I love what Manny Ramirez, he was the center for the Denver Broncos in the Super Bowl. If any of you remember when he snapped the ball past Peyton Manning on the very first snap, accident, of course. Nevertheless, Manny was at convention. He's part of Team for Life. And he said that, and his wife was actually the one that said this, that they love to share the products. They just pick a couple of products and they focus on sharing those with people. And that's a great way to start. So let's move on here. Let's go. I'm going to go back over here real quick. Some of you have seen some of my things on my screen. I apologize. Been learning some old tunes. All right. I'm going to get out of this here real quick and go back to where I was before. Actually, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Okay. So back to where we were. Now talking about number 2, prospecting. All right, you guys. I'm going to look real quick because since I don't have anyone helping me, I want to look at some of the messages before I move on here. How can I download the video of the Pro TF about the protein for the ones that do not use? I'm not quite sure, Lewis, what you mean on that. All the videos, everything you need on 4Life and on products are best found on the 4Life Research YouTube channel. Okay. So, what I do, I'll share my screen again with you guys, is, all right, I'm sharing my screen, going over to YouTube. So I've got these channels here that I subscribe to. And if you go up here, oh, I need to sign in. I'm on a new computer, by the way. So here we go. I'm just going to go like this, 4Life. Oh, it looks like I'm in now. No, maybe I'm not in. My subscriptions, here we go. Well, anyhow, 4Life Research. That's the one you want to subscribe to. It's the 4Life Research official YouTube channel. All right. So that's what I would recommend that you do. In fact, there's the compensation plan right there in English that's on there. So my recommendation, and you'll know because right here it says 4Life Research, subscribe to that channel and you'll have access to all kinds of videos. There's Nathan's latest Why 4Life video on there. So if you guys want to take time and get some great knowledge and start learning, subscribe to the 4Life Research YouTube channel. Okay. I highly recommend that. I'm not logged into my account, but I am subscribed to it. just so y'all know there. All right, I'm going to go ahead and turn off my screen sharing. Let's focus on number 2 here. All right, prospecting. In your prospecting efforts, all right, and I tell people this all the time, I don't care how you get first exposure, meaning how do you expose an individual to what you do for a living, what they do, or how you want to get them into for life. What they do for a living is actually a good one, because I like to ask people that all the time. What do you do for a living? And I find that when I ask people what they do for a living, they turn around, they ask me. So there's a little challenge for you guys. This week, challenge yourself. Just find a stranger, whether you're standing in line or wherever, you just start up a conversation with someone and ask them what kind of work they do for a living. All right. And see if they ask you back what you do for a living. All right. If they do, you've immediately made a new friend. All right. And that's what prospecting is all about. If they don't ask you back, or they don't reciprocate and reply back to you in some way, at that point, you probably want to just drop it, because it's someone that's cold and you just leave it alone. But I found that it's your attitude and just your whole persona that drives people towards you. And if you're kind and nice with people, and you have a smile on your face and it's a wonderful day, people have no problem talking to you, and they have no problem sharing their day with you too. So challenge yourself this week and do that. In your prospecting efforts, many people have different talents in different arenas, different areas. Some are great with social media. I get blown away sometimes. I see some of these people that we got, a gazillion followers. I mean, I see some people literally with hundreds of thousands of followers now on some of these Facebook, pages. And so some people are naturally talented at that. They're great at building an online family, if you will, or circle of influence online. That's great. Some people have other strengths. Some people are just natural networkers. They're very social. They're outward. They're more extroverted. They'll go out and talk to people all the time. And I can tell when I see those people as well. You can just tell because they have no problem walking into a room and see people talking. They'll walk right up and jump right on in the conversation. All right. So everyone has different talents and different skills. What you need to work on are the ones that you feel are weak. Okay. Use the ones, that you're strong in. Let's say you're strong with the whole, Facebook thing, but you're more introverted. I'm sorry, but if you want to be a networker, can you do it all online? I guess you could, social media and trying to do everything online. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but I'll tell you what, you've definitely thrown a huge tool out of the toolbox, meaning if you don't have the ability to communicate with someone face to face, or one-on-one. I'm not saying stand up in front of 100,000 people and speak, but the point is you have to have a bond with the person. Social media and the internet has no feelings. All right. Now you might read something and get emotional about it, but that'll die off pretty quick. All right. We constantly need to be fed emotional food. All right. That's how we are as human beings. We're emotional people. That's why it's very important to have that skill set of communication and being able to reach out to people and talk to them. So in your prospecting efforts, I encourage you to always work on your social skills. How from the way you shake someone's hand, you shake a man's hand differently than you shake a lady's hand. The way you say hello to people. So again, how you expose someone to this doesn't matter. It could be through lead pages. It could be, that you were sitting next to somebody on an airplane and started talking to them, or on a bus somewhere, or one of your child's friends' parents, like in the case of Tony, whatever it may be. The point is, you've got to make it a natural habit, like I've been saying throughout this webinar so far the whole time. It's got to be natural. It's got to be part of your lifestyle, that when you're around people, talking with people, you go into that mode of building your business. Now, is there a time to shut down? Of course there is. You're not going to see me at Thanksgiving dinner telling people how they need to be joining For Life Research. All right. I didn't do that, nor would I. But the point is that there is a time and a place, and we all figure that out. I admit I've run my mouth sometimes, a few times, about for life and network marketing, and it might not have been the best forum, but I love what I do. What can I say? So therefore, in your prospecting efforts, you're going to find that's number two. Ditto Talk is there to help you get started. It's not the end all be all, but it's an amazing tool for the people that are getting going in their business and to learn quickly. So let's get into real quick here the Ditto Talk part of this. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here again. Actually, before I do that, I apologize. I want to look at my messages just to see. Okay. All right. I've got a question here. Are the videos in Spanish? Okay. I need to bring y'all up to speed real quick before I share my screen and we get into the Ditto Talk. I was up in Utah last week for 3 days, and we cut the videos for the transfer factor. That was done for the presentation. We have also the new scientist video. You'll be seeing those of you that were at convention. If you saw Raquel on stage, she was the lead singer for the band. She's the scientist in the video. So we put her in a lab coat in the lab room up there at For Life, and she's great for marketing purposes. Fantastic. So I think you all love the new videos that will be out. Are they in Spanish? Mine is. So for the Spanish video, you will have my portion in Spanish, and some of the other, there will be a couple of others in the future that will be in Spanish, the dialogue. But most of them, like David and Bianca, they can speak a little Portuguese. They don't speak Spanish. Therefore, subtitled. I've got somebody working on that. All right. So some videos will be subtitled. Some will be in full Spanish. But the Spanish Ditto Talk presentation is available, you guys. It's the new shorter version. There are some typos in there. I apologize for the typos. They'll be fixed this coming week, probably Monday or Tuesday. They'll be done. Reason being, the software that's used to import as we change scripts and so forth, for some crazy reason, it tends to leave out some A's and O's, some vowels in some of the script. So that's being gone through right now, and that'll be fixed, taken care of. But it is in Spanish. It's in English. And there will be more Ditto Talks coming out. The transfer factor one we're finalizing. I do have scheduled starting on the 14th of January. I'm taking off, heading over to Asia. We'll be over there doing events from Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, and the Philippines, and be doing Ditto Talk trainings as well. And some of these will be filmed, and I may even try to do like a live webinar from over there, so that you guys can all participate in it. But anyhow, we're going to be creating Ditto Talks, as I mentioned before, for various countries. And here's the challenge with some of this, just so you guys all understand why this takes a little bit of time. Every country has a different application. It's not necessarily about the Ditto Talk presentation itself, because you can do a Ditto Talk for somebody right now, the English one. You can do that in Singapore, Philippines, any place they speak English, and do the Spanish one for Spanish anywhere. The challenge is when you get to the end of the presentation and the individual is going to sign up, and you want to bring them in or take them to show them what I showed you earlier, your For Life page, whether it's the sign up page or the shopping cart. It's 100% extremely important that the individual goes to their country that they're in. So the United States is easy. As soon as you just go to the USA English presentation, piece of cake. As soon as you're done, they want to move ahead, takes them right to the sign up page. That's your sign up page on your website that they're going to be filling out. We are working on one thing, the enroller sponsor. Those fields, they were not, what's the word I'm looking for here? They were filled in automatically. They were populated with your ID number. We're going to change that so that you can populate the sponsor field. Therefore, you have the ability to tell the individual that's signing up, if it's through Ditto Talk, to put an ID number where it says sponsor. Make sure they read the name to you so that because you're not seeing when they're filling that out. You don't see that because they're off the Ditto Talk server. All right. So once they go to the end of the Ditto Talk and they go to the For Life server, you no longer see where they are. So now you're just talking with them, and they'll fill out the information, they'll move forward. Every country is different. Some countries accept digital signatures. Mexico's one of them. Mexico will be great. Everything can be done seamlessly right through DittoTalk. Other countries will require a paper application. And in some places, you cannot even use, there's no digital, sign up at all. But I will say that probably 90 something odd percent of the countries that we're in, you will be able to get the ID number right online through the DittoTalk, but they will have to print the application, fill that out, and send it in to the office. And in some countries, it has to be the original application. I know it sounds crazy, but there's still some countries that are, a little behind, and they have to have the actual physical application. I think Colombia is one of those. And so that's why the DittoTalk, we want to make sure that people know when you get to that point of the presentation what to do exactly. So you have to tell the person, print the application, make sure you fill it out and sign it and fax it or scan it or mail it, whatever they do. But the copy of that application has to be sent to the company. Now, I would say that's a great opportunity. Take advantage of this. If that person is someplace that's close to you or you can meet up, I would just say, hey, download this, fill it out, let's get together, I'll just get it from you. That way, I know I've got their application and the company's going to get it for sure. I don't like to depend on other people all the time, all right? Especially when it comes to getting a power pool check or something like that, all right? Application doesn't get turned in, doesn't count towards the power pool. So what's my point? Well, as you're doing this with people and talking to them, every DittoTalk is going to be different. So as you're training people, make sure that they understand, why do we have a DittoTalk for Colombia, Ecuador, Bolivia, Mexico, Taiwan, Korea, as we develop these? Well, everyone has it. When you sign up, they're all different at the end of the process, and the shopping cart's different. And we need to make sure their ID number is generated in the country that they live. So that's why it's that way. Sorry I was so long-winded about that, but very important to understand, okay? So the Spanish ones, yes, there will be, everything will be in Spanish as well, but I can't say that all the videos will be done in Spanish. All right, so now let's go into the DittoTalk here real quick. Want to make sure that everyone is familiar with the process of the DittoTalk. Everyone by now should know that DittoTalk, our 4Life DittoTalk, is found on bebetter123.com. So as soon as you go to bebetter123.com, this is what you get right here. The biggest mistake I've noticed, and I'm going to talk to Mike, the CEO of DittoTalk, and have him see if I can get him to make a couple of changes here. Most people get confused because as soon as they go here, the first thing we want to do is look at the screen in the middle, and we want to put our name right here. For those of you that are presenting, which is all of, probably I should say, hopefully all of you on the line here right now listening in, as presenters, you don't do that. You don't go in the middle here where you see my mouse moving around, my cursor. You go up here and click on presenters, all right? I'd like Mike to have two, just right in the center of the screen, two areas. Observers click here, presenters click here. Very simple. Put your email in and your password. And that will take you to your DittoTalk. Now, this is my sample DittoTalk account. So you pick a person, show presentation, very simple, all right? But the first thing you got to do is add people. So that's the first thing you start doing is you put in their first name, you put in their last name, you put in their email address and their phone number, all right? City. Now, here's the one thing that we're going to try to do is make a change here. If you notice this drop down, it says country, but as you go down, you've got all these states that are here. And it gets frustrating. There you go, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois. So what I would like to see happen here is that when you put the country of this prospect, whenever you select to do a DittoTalk with them, it defaults to the country that they're in. So if they were in Colombia, if I were to go back here again now, and let's say I'm just picking, Marcos here, and he would happen to be in Colombia, if I clicked and put show presentation, then it would automatically pick the Columbia presentation as the default because it's in Columbia. So that's a thought that we're thinking that would really help. But nevertheless, you're still going to, for now, you got to pick the country you're presenting to, but build up your dashboard. Start getting contacts in there, all right? So first thing you do, log in, go here, start adding contacts, create your prospects that you're going to present to, all right? If you need, there's some information about your account. Actually, I'm not going to go into that one. If you want to know about your account, you can do that. But practice mode, here's what everybody should be doing. Going into practice mode and getting very familiar with the presentation, all right? Now, when you're presenting to people, we're on step 2, prospecting. Remember, we haven't even gotten to step 3 or 4 yet, and those will be pretty quick. When you're prospecting, you want everything to be natural. So as you look through here and you see here, for example, if I were to call up Norma and I said, Norma, and let's say that I know Norma by chance, okay? I happen to know her, we're acquaintances, fairly decent friends. Say, Norma, I'm not probably going to read this. Say, I recently started working with a fantastic company and they've given us a really cool incentive multimedia software program to use. That comes across as like I'm reading to her. This is someone who knows me. They're my friend. So I would call her up and I would say, hey, Norma, hey, I just started a new business and I'm really excited about it. Is it okay if I tell you a little bit about it? You got a minute? And that's the way I would approach Norma. And then I would say, I've got this really cool tool. So if you can get to a computer, I just want to show this to you because it's something totally new and it's really fun. So it's the same message, but it's just coming from my personality. All right. So as you get familiar with this, read through these scripts, get familiar with them, and you're going to find you go into autopilot mode, and you probably won't read it anymore word for word. But you're going to know, like, do you have 15 minutes to go through it with me while you're in front of a computer? You'll probably get to a point where you'll say, if you got a few minutes, climb in front of a computer and let me just share this with you. Now, obviously, who you're talking to makes a big difference. When you're talking to a friend, you can say someone like that, I'm going to jump in front of your computer, whatever. But if you're talking to someone that's cold market that came in from a lead page and you just called them up on the phone, you're still trying to feel that person out. You don't, and that's going to be step number 3, which is identify. But in the beginning, in your prospecting efforts, talking to a cold market person, keep something in mind. That you do ditto talk with them. When you're done, they're going to remember not even 10%, probably not even 5% of what you said, but they'll remember 100% of how they felt. And guess what makes them feel? It's not what they read. It's going to be you. It's what they hear. It's your voice. It's your personality. They will buy you first. They might be intrigued by Ditto Talk and For Life and Transfer Factor and network marketing, all these incredible things you're going to share with them. But at the end of the day, when it's said and done, you did that Ditto Talk presentation, that first one with them, all they're going to remember is how they felt about you. Okay? So that's where step number 3 comes in. But going through this real quick, hitting the down arrow, you guys, all I'm doing is hitting the down arrow. All right? And we can even put in, something to where you can hit another button on your keyboard and it might take somebody straight to your shopping cart. So let's say you're talking to them and all of a sudden they're like, you know what? I don't have a lot of time right now, but I really want to try your product. Boom. Great. Right into your shopping cart. There you go. They can make a purchase. Of course you can tell them to go there, but I'm a hands-on person. I like to do it right there on the moment. Get it done, get them in. But go through and read. Now, if you look here, let me go back. Very important, like right here. If a person can't select the color, like let's say that they're going to school or something and they don't have, a career or they're not really thinking of know what they're going to do, ask them these questions. You like to have fun? Are you into making money? Or are you about saving the world? Or do you enjoy researching? If you had to pick one of those, what would be your favorite one? And chances are probably going to say making money because they really don't know what this is about yet. But the whole point is when they do pick a color, keep in mind it's very important that you do your presentation according to that color. Green, all right? So they picked a color green. Then you're going to want to go that direction and make sure that Am I bad here? Making sure go down here. All right. So making sure that I'm not actually not doing a presentation. I apologize. I was thinking I was in dual mode here, but I'm not. When they select it, just look at the bottom of your Ditto Talk screen. It's going to tell you how to approach that person. Green people are your technical ones. They're some of the most difficult to talk to in the sense that they can interrupt you. But when they do, it's a serious interruption because they want to know information. Green people are all about information, you guys. That's where your preparation comes in. If you're talking to a green person and all of a sudden you just told them you started a new business and they want to know about it, if you can't tell them a whole lot about it and they're a green person, then they're going to look at you and they're going to look down on you. They're not going to look up to you. They're going to look down on you and they're going to think, wait a minute, you started this business, you don't seem to know a whole lot about it. So the green person, and they don't try to do this intentionally, but many times they can make you feel bad because a green person likes to show you that, hey, they've got knowledge. That's what they're about. They're engineers, they're accountants, they're cerebral people. All right. And so you have to be cerebral as well. Cerebral meaning intelligent. You got to show that, kind of come across as being a little nerdy, if you will. All right. That you know what you're talking about. So that's important to identify that type of person. So if you're presenting Ditto Talk to a green person, you want to come across from a position of knowledge, a position of strength, if you will, right? If you're talking to a yellow person, doesn't matter that much because what they care about more is the tone of your voice because they're going to be more subdued. They're more about helping people, saving the wells and so am I. I love the wells. I love Shamu. And they're about, so that's what it's about. So even your voice may change a little bit when you're talking to a yellow person because now it's even your green people don't like to let you get close to them as much. Yellow people like to be close. That's what they're about. They're social workers, they're nurses, caretakers, they're people that they're involved with people on a daily basis. And so they're close to people. So they'll warm up to you very quickly. So you want to have be able to do that with them as well. All right. And that's where you make a great friend, by the way. And let me give you an example of that. Two of the trainers at our Pro TF Fitness Center here in San Diego. And I don't know if Barry's on this call right now because I can't see who all's in with us here. But Barry Blake in New Zealand signed up people in San Diego through LinkedIn. All he did was went on LinkedIn and looked for personal trainers, sent them to my Pro TF Fitness Center, and they went there and wanted to know more about the center, and they wanted to know about becoming a trainer there, which we were looking for trainers, and we're always have our eyes open, just looking for high quality trainer. And Karina answered on LinkedIn, got back to Barry. She was curious about the fitness center. Barry used that as the hook. Well, Karina came and she saw it, liked it, became a trainer, got involved, joined For Life, and Barry did all that. I didn't do it. Here's a guy in New Zealand, he's now seen Karina face to face because Barry was just here. He went to convention. But for months and months, he'd never even met her, never seen her. It was all, over the internet. Okay. So he gets Karina, turns around, gets another one named Laura. Now, Laura is a world-class, in fact, Laura might even be on with us. Good morning, Laura, if you're on the call with us today. She's a 2-time world champion kickboxer. All right. She'll kick your guys' butt, put it that way. So Barry meets Laura through LinkedIn, sends her to Pro TF Fitness. She likes it. She's a trainer at 24 Hour Fitness. She likes it. Kind of wants to be part of it as well. Not kind of, wants to be part of it. Joins For Life. But here's the thing. What's Barry going to do? Think about this, you guys. If this was you and you were starting a line and you're building in a particular area, are you going to go ahead and create competition, or are you going to try to get them to team up and work together? Well, Barry chose the teaming up. So what does he do? He takes a bit of a risk by saying, hey, I'm going to introduce Laura to Karina, and they're both in the gym anyways, so they're going to meet each other regardless. And so Barry places Laura under Karina, and now Karina just jumps in and they become best friends. We took them out to dinner last week, or a week before, I apologize, and had a blast. And it was amazing. As I was watching, you'd think they've been friends for their entire life. So the point I'm making is that the identifying an individual, and if I had to identify colors, I would say that Laura definitely falls into a yellowish category and even a blue. Blue meaning social, very fun, loves to have a great time. I can tell just through the Facebook posts. So the point I'm trying to make here is, you guys, in identifying, we're working with people here. Everyone's different, okay? So we all have to be a rainbow. If you're talking to that yellow person, you've got to adapt to them and be able to say, hey, you're yellow's emotional too. Let's talk about emotional stuff. Well, if you're talking, that's not what they want to hear. The same applies to a blue person. They just want to have fun. All right. They want to know the incentive trips and all the fun and even the money that's going to be made. The red person is definitely into the money. They don't really care much about the trips at all. They don't care much about the fun stuff. They're more structured and looking at this as a serious business. Now, many people get into this for fun, and really that's what most people do. They get into network marketing because they see everyone having a lot of fun. All right. But identify the color of the person you're talking to. And I like that example of Barry because it just shows how in your prospecting efforts, you can reach around the world, all right? Just casting a little net out there. And I don't know what Barry said to them. He probably reached out on LinkedIn and said, hey, there's a new fitness center in your area, and they're looking for trainers. If you're interested and you want to know more about it, check it out or get back to me. That might have been all he said. And a few people got back to him, not just Laura and Karina, but a number of them did. So there's an idea for you guys when it comes to prospecting, all right? And I get a kick out of it because people around San Diego that are in the business, I hear a lot of them complain, and here's Barry in New Zealand signing people up from the other side of the world. Okay, there you go. Lead by example. All right, so identifying. You need to be a rainbow. You need to be blue when you're talking to a blue. You need to be yellow if you're talking to yellow, green, red, or red. But how do you identify the individual? Listen. You ask questions, trigger questions, and listen. Now, obviously, ditto talk is not about asking questions. And I know I'm sharing my page here and it's not moving anywhere. I'm out of ditto talk for now. But the ditto talk, we're trying to avoid questions, you guys, because you're doing this for a person and you're just trying to get them in the door. Once they're in the door, the real process begins of building with them. Signing them up or having them buy product, that's a sell. That's a sign up. All right. And that's wonderful. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's amazing when you do that. But the point is that is just the open of the business. It's not the close. You didn't close the person, you opened them. And I learned that from Tony Kruger, by the way. And Tony's part of Ditto Talk from Gold Coast, Australia. Tony, thanks for teaching me that. Because we always talk about closing people. And yeah, I guess when you say you signed them up, it's a close, but it's really an open. At the end of the day, when you think about it, you're starting a relationship and hoping that you sign that person up and they'll be part of your for-life family forever. And that's what you want. Build a relationship, a friendship, have fun together, and build an enormous business together. And I will tell you, as I always say, you'll count on one hand, that's 5 people that you bring into for life, into your for life world. 5 or less will be your key players that you work with for the rest of your life. All right. The ones that you will cry with, laugh with, share hugs, ups and downs, all the emotions you go through of building the business and doing this, there will be 5 or less. And trust me, if you have 3 and they're in separate legs and you work on those 3, you will become a platinum. And I'm here to tell you guys, I only have 3 key legs. I've got a lot of legs, but some are they're legs that do 3,000 LP, 4,000 LP. Then I got the ones that do 15 million LP, 10 million LP. So the point I'm trying to make is once you find those people, that first one, man, you latch onto them like white on rice. Now, I'm not saying that you want to bug them all the time and be their shadow and annoy them, but man, you got to be there for them. You've got to, build that relationship. It's and Jeff L. Gilbert says it best. It's the courting process. the dating process. They're getting to know you, you're getting to know them. And even if you do know them, they may not know you on a business level, and you may not know them on a business level. And here you are in this business together. So now you've become business people together. All right, something new. The point is, it's the relationship you're developing. That's what's so important. And that's the glue that holds it all together, which leads me to step 4, and we're about to wrap it up. Step 4, that is the solidification. Why are we here this Saturday when I could be at the beach, I guess today. It looks like a nice sunny day out there in San Diego. Some of you might be freezing up somewhere in the Northeast, or on the other side of the world in Malaysia, or down under where it's a different season going into summertime. But the point is that you're here and you've sacrificed that time to be here. And so, you're owed, during this time, I'm not trying to, toot my own horn here, but attention, education, learning, whatever I've been doing for the past 34, 35 years. If I can help you, this is where you're going to find me on Saturday. And if it's not me, it will be someone else. But this is every Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific time in California. I or somebody else, and you'll know ahead of time if we're going to have a guest, will be speaking and sharing with you, our thoughts, ideas, whether it's Ditto Talk or what. And this is a coming together. This is not really a formal training, even though today I wanted to share my 4 points. Many times it might even be, a type of session where it's a Q&A, where we just pick a topic and we just go through it, and I share with you how it's affected me in my career in building the business, and just thoughts and ideas and suggestions and comments and participation from you guys is important. So why are we here? To solidify our business and our relationships and what we're doing. That's why we have events and meetings and rallies and conventions and your weekly opportunity meetings and webinars, bringing people together. So this has been a struggle with me, to be honest with you, over the past few years, because I grew up in traditional network marketing. You have you have your weekly meeting, opportunity meeting, and you can have a weekly opportunity meeting in different parts of the city, or if you live in a big city, wherever. But when I was living up in Los Angeles back in the 80s, we had our weekly opportunity meeting Tuesdays and Thursdays. We would do it. Then we do the Saturday training. So Tuesday, Thursday opportunity, Saturday training, like clockwork all the time. All right. But those were done in hotel rooms or an office or somewhere where people physically had to go. Well, we now have something called the internet and social media, webinars, in this case, Webinar Jam. And so now we live in an age of communication and information. So solidifying your business is pretty easy to do by doing this. I don't care what team you're on, you guys. DNA is represented by many teams, whether it's INT, IMT, International Mentors Team, whether it's Dream Builders, Winners Team. There's just a Team Diamondberry, all kinds of teams out there. Doesn't matter. The whole point is that it's all about learning and growing, because we're all in one big family, and that's called For Life. All right. So in solidifying your business, that relationship that you're developing with the person is extremely important, and edifying. The best thing you can always do when you get in a group situation, edify an individual, 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever. And that shows good leadership too, by the way. And so no matter what team you're on, you're building your business, you guys. All right. And I kind of want to end on this, and because I'm trying to keep this an hour each week or less. But the teams are very important. Everyone's team is essential and critical, because we all need to be part of something. And Donald Trump, we all got to admit, whether you like it or not, made a pretty darn big statement, because he used social media and surprised everybody. And I think social media had a big part of getting him to where he got to. So here's my point. The process of reaching out to people, the relationship, that's where social media will help. I've never seen a president or president-elect, and I realize people need to probably take his phone away from him now and then, but at least he's talking. At least he's saying something to people, letting them know he's reaching out to them. So that's what we have to do as well. So in solidifying your business, it's the communication. No matter what team you're on, it's your business. You're building your team too. So, whether you're Irma in Arizona or Irma, I'm just using you as an example. Wherever you are, it doesn't matter. You're building your team. It's your team, even though you're part of a bigger team. So keep that in mind, because I'm a big believer in independence. I don't like people depending on somebody for their own success, their own future. It's about developing your own skill set. It's about being interdependent, all right, where we rely on each other, all right? When we work together and we're building this together, but we all realize it's our own business. At the end of the day, what we build, is determined by each of us as an individual, with the support of our teams and the support of all the tools that are available. Okay. Now, those tools, it doesn't matter. Somebody might prefer one tool over another. That's why Ditto Talk will be available, even if someone doesn't want to use Lead Pages or something else. You all get it for free because you're all, signed up. And congratulations, by the way. You guys really got a good deal. For the rest of your lives, you're going to get every update, everything that happens with this whole system as it develops. You never pay a penny again. So, everyone else, if you've noticed, by the way, if you go to sign up, if somebody were to sign up for Ditto Talk, but go for DNA.com, and y'all should know that. And then we're going to finish up the solidifying. All right. They just click on Ditto Talk, and it's right there. All right. Order Ditto Talk. You all know now that it's a monthly subscription or annual subscription, right? There is no more lifetime subscriptions, right? It filled up. You guys did it. Congratulations. So again, finishing up, solidifying. Once a month, every one of you need to have a meeting with your downline, meaning whether it's a lunch or whether it's Starbucks, just getting together, talking, having fun, but you need to get your or a conference call. You can do Skype call. In fact, now, Microsoft now owns Skype. So they've got a great package where you can get the business Skype, 250 on a conference call. Now, you get up to 250 on your conference calls, I was going to say, I will do something for you. But the point is this, you get to 250, you're doing awesome. All right. And at that point, you'll certainly be able to afford getting more people into a different system if you need to, whatever it be, Webinar Jam or whatever. The point I'm trying to make is this: solidify your business, all right? Keep it solid by keeping your relationship strong. I'll tell you a quick story at the end to finish up here. Had someone in my downline back in 2000 that disappeared on me. And when he went MIA on me, we all know in this business, when you don't hear from someone that you've been close to, you've been working with, you got that relationship going with them now, you've done calls with them, you're talking, the dialogue's going great, and all of a sudden you don't hear from them, it's for one of two reasons. Either A, they're doing so well and they're so busy in their business, like, let's say like Juan or Emilio or Jeff or someone like that, that they just don't need you anymore, and that's why they're not talking as much, because they're working on their downline and with their downline. Or B, they've become disengaged. And now they're kind of out of sight, out of mind, and they're just doing whatever. And that is generally the case when that happens. All right. In this particular case, my relationship was strong enough with the individual who joined For Life cold, by the way. All right. It was a cold market call, and it took a while to develop that friendship over the phone. But once I got this person involved, I flew out there, went to his house, spent time with him. And then when he went MIA on me, I got worried and finally found out where he was. And yeah, his head was somewhere else because he was going through a difficult time in his life, going through divorce. All right. And divorces and marriages are two things in this business that don't mix real well, because one, you're in love and you don't want to do the business, and two, you're in pain and you don't want to do the business. So anyhow, I felt my relationship was strong enough where I could call this person once I found him and said, hey, what's going on? Let's talk. Once we got down to it, it now came about, all right, the business is not the most important thing right now. Your life is, and where you are, and our friendship. And so sometimes we would talk at 2 or 3 in the morning just to talk. All right. Well, that brought this individual back into For Life and is now a platinum today, doing many, 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 many millions of life points in the downline. I say that, you guys, to finish the call up, because keep your relationship strong with your people. This is a process, all right? It's a lifestyle. It doesn't happen overnight. It took me 18 years, all right, to find For Life, or For Life found me. I was a millionaire in my 20s with NSA, National Safety Associates, if any of you heard of them, you know, back in the 80s, and, made a lot of money, lost it all. Read my book if you want to know. My Friend Dave on Amazon. All right, the story's there. Anyhow, you guys, I love you all. Thanks for joining me. I know it got a little bit long-winded. I apologize. Next week, we'll get a little bit more graphics on some stuff with presenting and the Ditto Talk. Lead pages, just so you know where we are. I'm waiting. Dwayne Bear, who does all the For Life videos and so forth, he's supposed to be getting back to me. I should have a better update on that next week. But you guys, everyone have a great Saturday. Hope I gave you some good information today. But let's get out. Ditto Talk. Have fun sharing with people. I am going to go back here, even though we're finishing the call. I'm going to stop sharing the screen. I'm looking at my text just to see if there's any questions, if anyone needs anything. Y'all have a great weekend. And somebody put in here, it's called The Pretenders. Thanks, Louise. I appreciate that. Claudia, you too. Thanks. Barry, you're on. All right. Thanks for joining. Michael, thank you. All right. And Saida, thank you. So everybody, have a great Saturday. Jeremy, Yuang, thanks you guys. And we got from now to next Saturday. All right. Let's Ditto Talk. Get out and share. Be fired up. Have fun. And build your For Life family. Okay. Your For Life business. I like to call it a family. Love you guys. Thanks. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye for now.